This is Toy Spell, and today we're looking at Bajie from Black Myth Wukong by Queen Studios, INART 1/12 scale. Same company and same line as the Black Myth Wukong that we just went over. So let's spin around the box for you real quick. Nothing too special, and that's open. Okay, so this is everything he comes with, and there he is. So let's go over everything he comes with. 2 hands, or more accurately, fists. 2 hands that are open gripping hands. 2 hands that are closed gripping hands. The preservation orb, which is a curio in the game, it makes you have like higher health, stamina, and mana after a resurrection. Pretty cool that we're getting like curios and talismans and consumables for these characters that come with the figures. The past echo mirror, this is pretty significant in one of the end of the chapter cutscenes. So if you saw that, you probably would really like this mirror. It looks great. The detailing on it is amazing, and the significance in the game is pretty cool. The 9-tooth rake, which is Bajie's weapon of choice, Pixie's weapon of choice. The details are so nice. Like, that dragon is pretty incredible, and I never noticed that in the game, but that is nice. The rake also has a nice texture that goes across the bar, and then has more detailing on the bottom here. It looks like there are little people holding up. This is really cool. I never noticed this before. And yes, if you count them, there are 9 teeth. Short little stand for the short king that is Bajie, and the pig himself. So taking a closer look at Bajie, there are a lot of really nice things about him. So like the fur texture on his face, incredible. Just like Wukong, it is just wild how many details, how many hairs, how many furs they got in this sculpt. And then the glossy eyes that make it look really clear and alive. And like they're bloodshot through most of the game, so that's pretty cool. The ivory color on the tusks and even on the teeth, pretty insane. Looks really nice. And then the glossy nose is also incredible. And that's just the head here. And so you have this brown with darker browns in it, and then you've got the black on the tips of the ears and kind of going through the top of the forehead here. Like a lot of really nice paint detailing on it too. The fur sculpt goes down into the chest, and you can see that a lot of it is really sculpted and very nice looking. The bandana here is a soft rubber, but around the neck it's a little harder. It doesn't really move. And then these beads are kind of soft, but again, they are fixed, I think, in the back here, and they don't really move out from that. I could be adventurous and try to see if I can get that off, but I also don't really want to break it, so I'm not going to do that. Then you've got really nice bones sticking through the skirt here, the belt. That's a nice color, and the skin coloring and texturing is so nice. And on the hands, you can see it maybe a little better. There's a lot of gray and whites mixed in, especially around the knuckles there. This part of the skirt is really nice. It's got a lot of lines through it, a lot of texture that gives it some variation in your eyes. And then he's also got the leg wraps on his calves and his ankles there. And he's got the claws in the back of his feet, the hooves, and the claws in the front, all painted and colored. The various shades and washes also continue into the back here. So it's mostly one color green, but then there's also a lighter green. Or maybe that's not even a lighter green, but there's darker greens or black maybe surrounding some areas that make it a little darker. And he's got these patches of these yellow. They're kind of just splotchy, and I'm not sure how accurate that is in the game. It looks slightly strange, but if it's accurate, that's pretty cool. But then he also has the edging on the bottom of his bottom cloth here, his skirt, with a little more yellow and brown. Even the leather on his scarf has multiple shades. I'm not sure if they went over with a lighter brown or if they went in with darkers in areas, but yeah, there's multiple shades on that. And then the beads have different colors. So you've got these black beads, and then on this brown bead, it's got the gold edges. They took a lot of detail in that. That's really nice. I am mostly impressed with this head sculpt. This is insane. The paint on it, the details, the sculpt, it is just really nice looking. Like even the teeth on the inside, like you can see inside his mouth really far, like gums on the top teeth. He is just, this head sculpt is insane. It's really nice looking. But like me, you're probably wondering how he moves. So let's get into some articulation with him. His head looks up, not very far, and down it goes very far. He looks straight down at the ground, like if there were a little grasshopper there. That is a combination of the neck and the head, just like the Wukong. So his head can go up and down about that much, and then the neck pushes it forward and back. The shoulders go just about 90 degrees, almost exactly. There is no bicep swivel, but it does twist around in there, so it's probably like a ball hinge, which is what they tried to do in the elbow here, and they tried to hide it in all these textures of this shirt. And that gives you almost 90 degrees. Maybe if we rotate, there we go. That's 90 degrees. And as you saw, this sleeve is kind of free floating, so it just goes around his forearm. And then there's a little forearm inside there. That forearm is on, like, there's a ball joint here and a ball joint back here that lets that forearm move back and forth just a little bit, so he can move his arm inside the sleeve as well to get a little bit more movement in there. And then this is just a ball, so this goes any direction you want it to, can rotate. It just doesn't have a huge amount of articulation, but your Bajie is probably not hitting the same poses as Wukong anyway. There is no ab crunch, but here you can kind of see that arm joint that looks a little like that ball hinge I was talking about. But he does have a joint down here between the lower torso and the upper torso, and that lets you crunch forward not incredibly far, back a lot further, and then he also has some tilt to him. It's just a little difficult to get working. The legs up in here are a ball joint, which gives him a forward of this much and a back of that much. The knees are hidden behind these wraps here, so he can bend his knee I don't know, 45 degrees, 75 almost. Again, he's just not hitting crazy poses, but that's decent. His leg does swivel at the thigh and at the knee where that wrap meets. And then it looks like he should have a joint right beneath this wrap running into his heel, but I don't think he does. It's not moving for me if he does there. But right where his hoof starts with the back claws here, there is a little bit of a joint that pushes forward and pushes back, and that can rotate. So he can rotate it all the way around, and that's where apparently like the main joint is. Then last are these brown pieces up front. These do swivel out of the way, so you can swivel them out or you can swivel them in, depending on what pose you want them in. These can move with you. I wouldn't say the articulation is bad. It's probably standard, to be honest. But comparing him to the Wukong, he's clearly no Wukong, and honestly, he shouldn't be, so don't expect that out of him. He's just a little pig man. He's just doing his little pig man stuff. He's kind of hard to stand up, but yeah, let's get him to some poses and see what we can actually do with him. Mess with the pig, get the rake. This is for those of you who have played the game or see somebody play the game. You know what I'm talking about. Let's just pretend like Bajie found that curio for you, and he's yelling at you as he does in the game. He can hit some dynamic poses. His legs aren't that bad that he can't just get into good walking stances. Remember that time he told you to jump into his mouth to fight a grasshopper? This one he's just yelling back at you. Maybe you missed something in the snow level, or I don't know. There he is, swinging his rake again. And another fun action pose with his rake. Overall, I would say he's difficult to pose, but not impossible. He is very difficult to stand up on his own, but you could see him hitting nice poses. He can get his legs far enough apart that he can get good stances, and he can hold his rake with 2 hands, so that's pretty good. But yeah, he's not the most stable on these hoof-like feet. This ankle part right here, I think, is what makes it difficult, because he's only standing on this tiny part from claw to claw is what he uses to stand. And right now I have him set so he can stand up straight up nicely, but it's a little harder to make him stand when he's in slightly different posing, especially once you get those legs moving as far as they can. Okay, let's do some comparisons. Remember, he is 1/12 or 6-inch scale, so these are supposed to be great for him. You have the Black Series Boba Fett, and you have the SH Figuarts Boba Fett. Then you have some giants here with the McFarlane Arkham Batman and the NECA something Predator, Fugitive, Stalker, Shaman Predator. I don't think anybody ever asks about the scale of these figures, but you have the 6-inch Jazzwares Fortnite, and you have Dragon Stars Saiyan Saga Vegeta. Here we have Mythic Legions. I absolutely love this. I didn't realize this at the time, but like, this guy reminds me of the demons or creatures in the snow level when you know what, you get what I'm saying. Like, this is pretty freaking sweet. This fits. I like 4-inch figures, so maybe somebody else is curious about the scale of 4-inch figures. So here is your 4-inch Jazzwares Fortnite figure. He is a large pig creature. And I'm not sure how I could show you the 4-inch Jazzwares Fortnite figures and not show you the boars. Like, duh. And of course I have to compare him to my favorite Wukong, the Fury Toys Wukong. And the figure he was absolutely made to go with. The Destined One from INART, Queen Studios. Like, these two are the pair. These are what you want to see together. These are the dynamic duo. And of course, it works really well. So that's it. That's Bajie in his full. But let's go over some positives and negatives. Just like the Destined One, the sculpt, the attention to detail, the paint are definitely in the positive category. He looks just like his in-game counterpart. He's got a glossy nose. You can see inside his mouth. His eyes are incredible. The details on his rake are insane. The hair on his chest, the speckling on his belly, the coloring on his hand, just the paint, everything. Everything that is aesthetic about this action figure is incredible and highly, highly in the positives, including the amount of hands, and the detailing doesn't leave out the accessories either. I also love the fact that it came with an in-game item so that you can put this with your Destined One or your Wukong or whoever else you get from their line that's just constantly expanding. And I don't know if you saw this the first time I showed it, but that green in there is like swirling and pearlescent and sparkling. It is lively. It looks just awesome. But of course there are some negatives as well. If you want to be that guy and be really nitpicky, the articulation could be better, but it's Bajie and he's thick, and I don't know how you can make it better in this sculpt. Like, I don't know how you can take this and make the articulation better. But if you want to be nitpicky, that could be one of the things that are negative. One of my negatives is the blotchiness of the yellows on the clothing. Maybe that's accurate to the game, and like the lack of paint on this patch, especially with the attention to detail that was on the Destined One. Maybe these are all accurate to the game, and then I have no leg to stand on with that critique, but that's one thing I don't quite like as of right now. I mean, maybe I'll learn more later. Another negative for me are these closed grip hands. I don't know what they're for. One of these grip hands is for the rake, and the other grip hands are for the mirror. But the rake definitely can't go through these closed grip hands. So you would think these closed grip hands are for the mirror. But sliding this tassel through this hand, maybe you have to heat it up more. Give me a second. So I feel like you don't get it as high as you want. He's supposed to be gripping the gold piece here, but the hand doesn't, the hole in the hand isn't wide enough to go around that. And there's no reason for him to be grabbing the tassel. You can't hold a mirror by the tassel. So yeah, these would be in my negative pile. And then even though including this curio from the game is in my positive, I think a negative is the fact, or the lost opportunity, the missed opportunity to include the turtle tier from the game. Now, the turtle tier I know isn't all that good looking. It's just this green and gold blob looking thing. But with its impact with Bajie himself, I think that would have been a great addition. I wouldn't want this taken away. I'm happy they included this, but maybe just one more piece. Maybe instead of these close gripping hands, or just one extra piece, the turtle tier would have been fantastic, and that is a missed opportunity in my mind. But yeah, overall, I think this is an amazing figure, and I think it is like a must-have for any fans of Black Myth Wukong, or if you're collecting any of the Black Myth Wukong figures, you need a Bajie to go with it. Bajie is just, I mean, if you played the game, you love Bajie. They make him incredibly likable and relatable, and you need him in your collection. So that's it. That's my review. Until next time, stay safe and have fun. He's just a little pig man. He's just doing his little pig man stuff. Duh.